the longest time, everyone believed Prince Harry would protect Meghan Markle no matter what. It didn't matter what the media said, what the royals whispered, or what tradition demanded, Harry stood by her like she was his entire world. He gave up his home, his titles, even the little bit of peace he had left with his family, all for her. But now, something has shifted. Slowly, quietly, and the shockwaves are rippling through every corner of the royal circle. Because for the first time, the tremor didn't come from Meghan. It came from Harry. And the choice he made recently blindsided Meghan in a way no one saw coming. A choice that peeled back cracks in their marriage so deep they can't be hidden anymore. And Harry, whether intentionally or not, has finally revealed the truth about something that started years ago. Something that began with one email, one line, one slip that shattered the illusion their marriage was built on. It goes all the way back to February 2018. The world had no idea, but inside the palace, the atmosphere was strange, tense, in a way only insiders could feel. Harry had sent an email, not an emotional one. Not a personal one, a formal, official email that later became an actual piece of evidence in court. Most people saw it as nothing, a simple protective message. But hidden in those lines was a sentence that changed everything. He wrote, "I can't begin to tell you what it will say about the institution if this isn't resolved before the baby's arrival and wedding." Harmless? Responsible? Not even close. Because in February 2018, there was no baby, no pregnancy, no bump, no rumors, nothing. So why was Harry talking about the baby's arrival months before the wedding when no pregnancy had ever been confirmed? People inside the palace froze. There were only two possible explanations. Either Harry was imagining a future baby, or he truly believed that a baby was already on the way. And from the tone of that email, from the urgency behind it, from the almost panicked pacing, it didn't sound like a hopeful dream. It sounded like a man trying desperately to manage a crisis before anyone else found out. That one tiny line became the spark, the slip that exposed a truth Harry never meant to reveal. Because if Meghan had told him she was expecting, even privately, everything that happened next suddenly makes sense. The moment that email hit the palace inboxes, confusion spread like wildfire through the staff corridors. Meghan had allegedly told Harry she was expecting, and Harry, emotional and protective to the point of blindness, believed her instantly. Why wouldn't he? He was head over heels in love, completely consumed. But the royal staff? They weren't convinced. Something wasn't lining up. There were no medical confirmations, no doctor visits, no reports, no appointments, nothing to justify the urgency Harry was pushing on to everyone. Yet, he kept repeating the same words like a countdown he couldn't escape. It needs to be settled before the baby arrives. That line echoed through late night calls, planning meetings, emergency discussions. It was like the entire palace had been shoved onto a timeline they didn't understand. And Harry wasn't slowing down. Every delay made him spiral more. Every question made him tense. Every hesitation pushed him deeper into panic. And the unspoken question that hung in the air became impossible to ignore. If Meghan was pregnant, why couldn't anyone confirm it? But Harry didn't care about confirmations. He trusted what he'd been told. He trusted the woman he loved, and that trust became the railroad track his entire life would soon speed down with no brakes. By then, the speed of Harry and Meghan's engagement shocked even the most experienced royal advisors. They'd known each other barely a year, yet Harry insisted the wedding must happen immediately. Not next year, not sometime soon. Now. Royal marriages usually take years. Slow planning, endless approvals, background checks. Traditions, schedules, protocols, it's all part of the system. But Harry pushed everything into a 6-month sprint, a pace the palace had never seen. Whispers spread behind closed doors. Even the Queen, usually measured and unbothered, asked for clarification more than once. Because every time someone questioned the timeline, the same pressure resurfaced. It needs to be done before the baby arrives. That one sentence became the engine of the wedding. The reason rules were bent. The reason decisions were rushed. The reason the palace scrambled like never before. Meghan appeared calm, glowing, perfectly put together. Harry seemed tense, emotional, frantic, like a man running from something only he could see. Behind the photos and interviews, an entirely different story was unfolding. A prince speeding toward a wedding he felt forced to complete. A wedding built on urgency, not certainty. On fear, not tradition. And if the baby that pushed him toward the altar never existed, then the love story he thought he was protecting might not have existed in the way he believed either. By March 2018, something even stranger happened. The whispers stopped. The urgent baby crisis Harry had pushed onto everyone suddenly disappeared. No more frantic meetings. No more countdown. It all faded overnight. Quietly, insiders murmured. That Meghan had told Harry she lost the baby. A personal heartbreak the world never heard about, but others noticed the math wasn't matching, not even close. If Meghan had truly been expecting in late 2017, the due date should have been around mid-2018. Yet nothing, no signs, no announcements, no physical changes appeared at the wedding in May. Even stranger, Harry didn't act like a grieving man. He acted relieved, like a storm had passed, as if the pressure he'd been carrying was suddenly lifted. And that's when the palace started asking the question no one wanted to say aloud: was there ever a baby at all? Because when Archie was born in May 2019, almost 2 years after the alleged early pregnancy, the dates didn't just fail to match, they contradicted each other completely. Which meant the urgency controlling Harry may not have been based in reality, but in belief. And belief fueled by love, fear, and emotional wounds can be more powerful than facts. If the disappearing pregnancy created suspicion, Meghan's behavior created even more. People inside the palace began noticing her ability to shift roles depending on the moment. Like she wore 3 masks: the victim, the partner, the star. When she wanted sympathy, she softened, widened her eyes, made herself seem overwhelmed. It pulled Harry in instantly. He'd always been sensitive to emotional distress, especially after losing Diana. When she wanted loyalty, she became the best friend, the teammate, the us against them partner. And Harry, already distant from the institution, naturally followed. When she wanted influence, she shined confident, charismatic, camera ready. A presence no newcomer had ever carried within royal walls. And Harry shifted with each change. When she cried, he defended. When she bonded, he followed. When she sparkled, he faded. It became clear. Emotion was her strategy. Love was her leverage. And Harry, trapped inside the emotional maze, couldn't see the strings guiding his choices. By May, the wedding momentum was unstoppable. Whether the early pregnancy was real, exaggerated, misunderstood, or something else entirely, the ceremony was happening. The Queen had approved it. The world was watching. But inside the palace, no one forgot how they got there. The panic, the rush, the impossible timeline. The vanishing crisis. When Meghan walked down the aisle, radiant and flawless, many insiders felt a quiet chill because they saw what Harry couldn't. He wasn't stepping into a fairy tale. He was stepping into a marriage built on urgency, on a moment that had disappeared the instant it served its purpose. And the saddest part? Harry thought he had won. He thought he had protected his new family. He thought he had chosen love over duty. He hadn't yet realized that the moment he said, "I do," the urgency vanished because its mission was complete. And the trap he didn't see tightening around him would shape years of his life afterward. And when Harry and Meghan finally packed up and walked away from palace life, the world thought they were running toward freedom. Malibu sunsets, Montecito mansions, fresh air, no rules, no protocols, nothing tying them down. It looked like paradise. It looked like the fresh start everyone dreams of when life gets too complicated. Even Harry told people close to him that he finally felt free, like a new chapter had opened, like he could finally breathe. But freedom is never simple when it comes without purpose. And slowly, quietly, that kind of freedom can turn into another kind of cage, a cage without walls, without guards, but still a cage all the same. In California, everything changed. The palace routine was gone. The discipline, the structure, the expectations, everything Harry grew up with, everything that shaped him had vanished. He didn't realize how much those invisible structures had held him together until suddenly they weren't there anymore. At first, the new life felt exciting, new opportunities, new business deals, interviews, productions, big promises. Meghan thrived in that world. Cameras, spotlights, meetings, branding, attention, it all fed her energy. But Harry, people close to them said he started to dim, slowly, quietly, like someone was turning down the brightness inside him, piece by piece. They described him as restless, withdrawn, snappy, uncomfortable in his own skin. Like a man who had run full speed toward a dream and then suddenly realized the dream wasn't built for him, because the truth was painful. In this new world, Harry wasn't the prince anymore. He wasn't the hero. He wasn't the rebel fighting the system. He wasn't even the main character in his own story. He felt like a supporting character in Meghan's life, like an accessory in a world she was built for, and he wasn't. And the irony, the Montecito mansion was bigger than most palaces, but inside those massive walls, the silence was heavier than anything he'd felt inside Kensington. The same silence he once thought would give him peace now echoed like a reminder that he had left behind everything he once knew for a future he didn't fully understand, and everything circles back to that one email, that one sentence, that one moment Harry didn't know would shape his entire future before the baby's arrival and the wedding. It wasn't just a warning. It wasn't just a thought. It wasn't even just a slip. It was the prophecy that revealed the truth long before Harry was ready to see it. Because buried in that one line was everything. The urgency he felt, the fear that pushed him, the manipulation he didn't notice, the pressure he thought was love, the decisions he made blindly, the reason he rushed, the reason he fought with his family, the reason he left his home, the reason he now lives a life he doesn't fully recognize. Harry wasn't just reacting to a situation, he was reacting to belief that love would fix the broken pieces inside him, belief that Meghan was choosing him, protecting him, loving him the way he always longed to be loved, belief that the life he built with her would heal the deep wounds he carried from childhood, from Diana, from the royals, from the spotlight. But the most painful truth of all is this: Harry wasn't fooled by someone else alone. He was fooled by his own hope, the hope that love could be enough, the hope that this new world would save him, the hope that everything he lost would be worth what he gained, the hope that he wouldn't wake up one day and wonder how he got there. Yet now, as cameras still flash and Meghan smiles for the world and the brand remains polished and perfect, Harry walks beside her with a heaviness he never had before. His shoulders look lower, his eyes look dimmer, his smile looks practiced. He moves quietly like a man watching the life he once imagined crumble piece by piece. He is no longer the prince with a destiny, no longer the rebel son fighting the crown, no longer the man with a mission. He is a man replaying the moment that changed everything. That email wasn't just a line in a document. It wasn't just evidence in a case. It was the moment the truth whispered to him, a truth he didn't understand then and can't fully escape now. Because cracks in a marriage don't begin with huge scandals. They begin with moments, sentences, little slips that echo for years. And Harry's sentence has been echoing louder and louder. The fairy tale is no longer shiny. The illusion is cracking from the inside. And the world is watching, waiting, holding its breath to see what Harry does when he finally stops pretending everything is okay.